Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. ZoinkMeister Adam returning back. Today we're looking at what I like to call the 2021 game recap. Basically, I'm going to go over, by month, every game I've played this year. This includes the ones that have appeared on the channel and all the ones that never appeared on the channel, just that I played in the background. Now, I started writing this list back in January, but some stuff happened in my life that made video games take the backseat for a while, and that's essentially why there was a well, I guess from your perspective you'd never know, but there was a big patch of times where I wasn't recording or uploading anything. I would still hang out with Patrick and we would record, of course, but when it came to actually making sure that I was playing games, that really wasn't happening. I wasn't really recording them or writing them down if I would get to play because I had so little time. But so this list is as accurate as I can perceivably remember it being. I went back through my PlayStation account and checked every single trophy to see which ones I got, just to make sure I didn't miss any games. A little harder to do with Switch, but I did the same with that. And then I would always write them down whenever I'd start a new game or if I'd remember to do so. And then I went back and checked through the channel. Now, in order to make this list, I would have had to play the game for more than 2 hours at least. Demos basically aren't going to make the cut, essentially, since that is exactly what it is. It's a demo. It's not exactly, in the rough sense in itself, the full-on game experience. So what I do is I have a whiteboard next to my PC, and it is segmented into 12 sections, one for every month, January through December, and I would write down the title of the game in each section based on the month I started them. Not the month I finished them, but the month I started them, because sometimes, especially if they're games on the channel, they could take a long time to finish, at least from your perspective. So what I would do is I have, they're all written in black, and then I have 3 colors, check marks, I'll put next to them based on what I did in the game. So if it's a green check mark, I completed the campaign. If it's a blue check mark, I attained all trophies or achievements. And if it's a red check mark, I 100%ed the game. So there was nothing left to do after. If there's no check marks, I never finished the campaign. And that's essentially how things are going to go. So without further ado, stating the rules of the list, here is the ZoinkMeister Adam 2021 game recap. Starting in January, we have Just Cause 3 for PS4. Hilariously, I played this on PS5. I said PS4 because that's what this remaster was released for. But I played it. I got I beat the campaign. I got all trophies, which was so difficult, and I 100% of the game, which was actually less difficult than the trophies. Believe it or not. Usually 100% completion is much more difficult than trophies because you have to do everything, but because I did everything, it actually made it hard to get trophies because some events wouldn't spawn, so I had to make some finagling happen. It was a fun game, buggy, but fun. Sackboy's Big Adventure for PlayStation 5. I did not complete this game, did not complete the campaign, did not get all trophies. I played it, maybe got a quarter of the way in, and I was like, well, this was a cool little experience, but not something that kept me hooked on long enough. Other things came out. It is what it is. Pokemon Sword. Okay, so Pokemon Sword, I've played pretty much all the Pokemons, all the Pokemans. I didn't like it. I think this is my least favorite of the entire Pokemon series. I feel like this is, of all else, where Game Freak definitely showed for the first time that, oh man, we've exclusively made games on portable consoles for the most part. And I feel like this was their first time where they had to make an original idea from the ground up to show what they could do on a full platform console, and it didn't quite work out in terms of everything from graphics to like game design to writing. Everything was just either okay or not so good, in my opinion. I completed the campaign. I didn't complete the Pokedex, and I definitely didn't 100% it. So I'm not going to say this is like the bona fide opinion that everyone should follow, but as far as my personal rough opinion goes, I didn't enjoy it. The Crash Insane Trilogy, Crash 1. This, me and Patrick originally started on the channel. It's like our first series, like second set of videos, I think, or something like that. Finally, when we restarted playing it in January, I'm happily able to confirm that I completed the campaign, got every single trophy, and 100%ed Crash 1. Extremely difficult. It's the one of Crash 1 in the Insane Trilogy is known for being particularly hard due to some mechanical mishaps that happen when aligning the game with the original skeleton. Very, very difficult. Spent way too long. I called Harley like every day when he was at work because he has a job where he can be on the phone because it's like a physical work. They don't mind if you have a phone. So I would call him and I would just be on the phone with him as I played like a crash level over and over and over. And sometimes it would be like hours on the same level and I would just be talking with him to pass the time. It was the only way. It was terrible. But yeah, ended up getting everything for that game. That one is 100%ed, hilariously enough. Moving on to Maneater, the Shark Sim game. That game was awesome. It was short. I got it free on PlayStation Plus, I believe. It was a short experience that I really liked. It was hilarious. The narration is fantastic. It has like the same amazing narration style that you can come to find from games like Stanley Parable, where it's like the narrator is like 100% like the fantastic writing of the game, and the rest is just fun gameplay. It was a fun experience. Beat the campaign, of course, got all trophies, 100% of it. Hitman 3. So hilariously, Hitman 3 for PS5. If by the time this video comes out, I think Hitman 3 Part 1 or 2 would have came out, which makes me sad that it literally took an entire year to get this series out. Yeah, I beat the campaign. I'm sorry about that. Came out January PS5. I told people I'd get it out faster, but due to some stuff I really don't want to get explained in my personal life and my mental health, I was just not up at the point to record that. Plus, now that I have much more powerful gear, now we can actually record it in 2K. Well, it's being recorded in 4K and then downsampled to 2K to mitigate the size packages, and it'll still look good. So yeah, but campaign beaten. Moving forward, Mortal Kombat X. So this one was basically entirely on the channel. This one I had stopped for a little bit before signing back on in January to play it for the channel. It was cool. It's not my favorite Mortal Kombat, but it definitely has higher quality than I would say 9 and the ones that predate that. I haven't played 11. I want to. We'll get back to that at some point maybe, but just the campaign for that. And then finally, Resident Evil 5 for the PlayStation 4. So the funny thing with that one is I had already beaten the campaign, but when we played it on the channel, we recorded it forever ago. We recorded it right after Last of Us 2, and then when Last of Us 2 went on hiatus for the time being, we recorded, I think, like the ending to Resident Evil 5, and then like never posted it. But it wasn't until I believe January of 2021 when I think it was recorded in 2020, but it wasn't until 2021 where it was officially posted and put up. And I did play a little bit in that time frame just to refresh myself. I really like RE5. It's like one of my favorites. I had beaten the campaign entirely and gotten all trophies, which was very difficult. That is a time sink. It's not so much difficult, just a time sink, but it's a pretty big time sink. And when it comes to time sinks, I respect my time. So I feel like time and difficulty are kind of intertwined sometimes. But I did not 100% it just because there's a mercenaries mode, and I didn't 100% that. Everything besides mercenary mode has been 100% it, but just for the sake of keeping up authenticity and keeping my fair word, I'm not going to write that down as 100% in it. Even though the mercenaries mode is add-on, by the version that I had it wasn't optional. It came installed with it. So I'm not going to say I 100%ed it. But for the most part, if you were to say RE5 vanilla on like PS3 or 360, yeah, by those standards, I would have 100%ed it. Finally, moving on to February, second month. As you can see, January was a very productive month. Hilariously, I believe it's our most productive month until about May. But getting on to February, Titanfall 2. So this one I really, really, really enjoyed. I can't wait. We're going to do it on the channel at some point. Fortunately, I had beaten the campaign early on, loved it, really played the hell out of that thing. And then the last trophy I needed was pretty difficult, and it was to do the, what is it called? It's the beginning, like the pit, the tutorial area where you have to beat it in like a ludicrous time speed. And it took me a long time trying attempt after attempt after attempt. And it wasn't until Patrick came over and we were just trying attempt after attempt. And eventually switching back the controller for like 2 hours, eventually he hit it. So he helped me get that platinum. But yeah, that one is campaign beat and platinum and all trophies achieved. Unfortunately, there is a multiplayer aspect to that. I'm not sure how that winds into the bigger aspect of completion. I don't know if there's anything, there's unlockables for the most part, but I don't know if any of that is pertaining to just like time sinks or like skill. I didn't really dive into it. It wasn't necessary for the trophies, but I didn't 100% it, but I would like to at some point. We are going to play that on the channel. I just do not know when. Super Mario Sunshine, one of my favorites. This is part of the 3D All-Stars collection that came out for Nintendo Switch. I had 100% completed this game. Again, this is the second time I've done this. This was the first game I ever 100% completed on GameCube. So I wanted to do it again when the 3D All-Stars collection came out. So yeah, campaign beaten, All-Stars completed, all coins achieved, everything. Nothing left to do in that game. Fantastic game. Really, really like it. It's my favorite Mario game. One of my biggest nostalgia sinks. Cannot say it enough. Love that game. So Insane Trilogy Crash 2. So this is the sequel to Crash 1. It is a much more easy bout than the first Gauntlet, but I don't know, something about doing all that hardship, because it was still not easy. It was still a little bit more difficult of a game, but doing all that hardship, I guess the first time and 100% completed, and it being like the first series we started on the channel dating back to 2017, I was just, I don't know, I was burnt out off of it. So I started it, I got through like the first section of levels and then didn't really complete it. So that one's on the back burner. Rhyme on the PlayStation 5. That was a game. I sunk like 3 hours into it. I didn't really know what was going on, didn't really enjoy the gameplay, and it was very basic. They went for a very polygonal, graphical, artistic design to it, which is okay. I mean, it was definitely like a more artistic game in general, but it didn't really have anything that kept me sunk to the point where I was like, oh, I got to complete this. So I didn't end up beating the campaign. Resident Evil 6 for the PlayStation 4/5. We played it on the 5, released for the 4. Original release was on the PS3, but we're playing the port version to the 4, emulated to the 5. This was a Me and Harley series, still hasn't been completed, especially saying that there's like 3.5 campaigns since they started out with 3 and then added a 4th, I believe. We were only going to play the Leon campaign, so we extra super duper didn't finish that one. No, barely any trophies. That one is a time sink when happening since Harley doesn't have the most available time. And we just haven't gotten any time to record any more of it. And that's it for February. So moving on to March, we have Super Mario Galaxy. So I had already 100%ed Super Mario 64 at the very end of last year, and then 100%ed Super Mario Sunshine the previous month. So I wanted to 100% Super Mario Galaxy, and then would have 100%ed the entire 3D All-Stars collection and then make a video on it, and that didn't quite happen. I ended up, the March is basically when some stuff happened in my life and it started happening and it was going to stay bad for a while. Where I didn't, gaming's basically my only outlet. So if I'm not doing that, things are usually pretty bad. And this is the time where things started to get pretty bad. So I didn't end up playing, I only played like a couple hours of it and then ended up putting it down and not picking it up since then. It makes me sad, but basically March and April aren't going to be very good months. Still in March though, Inside. This was a series that me and Patrick played on PC at his place. It was a lot of fun, really enjoy it. A short, sweet, artistic time. We beat the campaign and 100%ed it, essentially, since we got all of the, shoot, what were they called? The orbs, or the like optional puzzles or like light switches that you could turn on by the end that make the special optional secondary ending that's open to interpretation. Very interesting. Yeah, love that. It was a great experience. Can't wait to play. They have another game coming out that I cannot remember the name of. And we also at some point want to do Limbo on the channel. And I'll be playing that one as well. And that's it for March. April has literally one game. And that's Doom 3 for the, I believe it was originally released on the OG Xbox. And I was playing it on the PlayStation 5. Since I believe it was re-released as a port for the PS4, and then this is just emulation. Didn't finish it. That game looks real dated. Maybe at some point we'll play it on the channel, just because, I mean, we had such a blast with Doom. Doom Eternal I really enjoyed, and I feel like at this point, I mean, we only have one Doom game, Doom 2016, but if we could do all the Dooms on the channel at some point, that would be a lot of fun. But I didn't finish this one, so maybe we'll come back to it on the channel. Okay, May is when things start picking up. I really, things are starting to look up a little more for how life's going, but I really doubled down and started playing more games to essentially, I don't know, have fun and like not think about whatever. The Uncharted trilogy, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, all of them. I completed all campaigns and got all trophies. Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3. That one was a fantastic experience. I cannot stress it enough. Uncharted 2, fantastic. Uncharted 3, fantastic. Uncharted 1, pretty good but dated compared to the other two. but it was a really cool experience to play all 3 of those. Just loved it. I had already gotten the platinum for Uncharted 4 beforehand, and remember, it was a time sink, that one, but it was such a good experience. The game quality is so good, and coming back to play all 3 of these games was just a fantastic experience. Cannot stress it enough. Good time, happy times all around. Really enjoyed it. Ratchet and Clank, the PlayStation 4 re-release, or not re-release, a remaster, remake, I guess. So the Ratchet and Clank, the thing with this one, right, is I had made a video when I first played the game that basically Insomniac robbed me of my trophy. They owed this to me and they took it from me. And essentially what that meant, if you want to watch that old video, I'll try to link it in the comments if I remember to do so. But I played Ratchet and Clank, I beat the campaign, and I 100%ed it, but the last trophy didn't pop. So I ended up playing that game 4 times through the campaign. 1 time to enjoy the story, the second time to get every single trophy. At the end of that run, the trophy didn't pop. It was to use a certain weapon on every single enemy in the game. Very inconvenient. So it didn't pop at the end of the second run. So I went back with a checklist on the 3rd run, and I checked off every single enemy in the game, and it still didn't pop. So then a 4th run, I exclusively used the weapon, which was, it's basically a disco ball launcher. It makes every enemy dance. So you have to get every single enemy to dance. You have to see their dance animation. And I went through the entire game and exclusively used that weapon and nothing else. And nope, did not pop. So I was angry. I was frustrated. That was a couple years back. Flash forward to May of 2021. There was an update that went out for Ratchet and Clank. It was basically in regards to the game that would come out the following month, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for the PS5. They wanted to put out a patch that improved, I believe it added like 4K support. So I thought, you know what? No, they wouldn't, right? Would they fix it? Would that patch fix it? So I went through, I played through the campaign 1 more time, and finally it was the final enemy, the final boss. I hit him with the disco thing. Trophy instantly pops. I finally get the retribution I've been looking for. 100% trophies, 100% completion, campaign complete. Moving on to June, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I got I beat the campaign and got all trophies. I didn't 100% the game because there was some stuff where you had to come back and basically play this gauntlet arena type thing where you just play against a bunch of enemies. And unfortunately, that game would crash on me quite a bit. So it was kind of a hassle. Every time a game crashes, a little bit off the piece of your brain just gets chipped off, and you just like want to play less and less of it when that happens. And that was happening to me. And essentially, I was like, you know what? I got the platinum trophy. That's it. I don't want to play any more of this. Although the times where it was consistent, it was a fantastic time. And the thing was, the PlayStation 5 was so ludicrously fast at loading stuff that when it would crash, the time it took for the PlayStation to prompt me to tell me that it would crash was actually slower than the time it would take to just boot up the game again. I'm sorry. So that wasn't too monotonous, but like when it came to getting the trophy, all trophies, I was like, you know what? I did it already. It is what it is. I'm not going to 100% it. Staying in June, Ninja Gaiden Sigma. So this was part of the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection that came out. I was really excited. Ninja Gaiden, the OG on the Xbox, not Sigma, is one of my favorite games of all time. Sigma I do really enjoy. It's something about the aesthetic of having the fog and the haze and the really warm filters over the OG and the increased difficulty just vibes with me a little better. But I did really enjoy it. I beat just the campaign. Platinuming these games is ridiculous. It is a big time sink. Like I think like one of the trophies, or like several of the trophies, were just killing 1,000 enemies with each one of the weapons. It was ridiculous, and all the Ninja Gaidens do that. So they are just ridiculous to beat or to get trophies. And I think one of them, another one that makes them very difficult, is beating the entire game on the highest difficulty, or getting the highest difficulty on each chapter. Very, very difficult. So I just got campaign completion. I wasn't gonna do the platinum. Too hard. Staying in June, Dead by Daylight. So Dead by Daylight is weirdly enough my #1 multiplayer game for some reason, and I don't really know why. The game's not necessarily a crazy good game. It's just when you have friends, it is like a fun time sink, because you guys are like screaming together as you try to avoid the killer, be it of the original cast or the licensed extra monsters that they got. I really enjoy that game, but more so the time I usually play it with Harley. So Whenever I'd have friends with that game was just a lot of fun. I really did enjoy it, but mostly, I mean, that's one of those things where like it's not the game itself, it's more the experience with friends. So I played that one quite a bit. There isn't really a campaign. There are trophies, but it pretty much amounts to playing way too much. So I don't have I have some trophies, not a lot. Jumping into July, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. So, of course, in the Master Collection as well. I beat the campaign, but this also stems from the same hoopla that resorted in the previous Ninja Gaiden Sigma game, where it's just there's just way too much to do in order to get the platinum nor 100%. They're just irresponsible time sinks, and I'm not going to do it. Returnal for PlayStation 5. So this game I really, really liked. Unfortunately, I would keep running into this problem where occasionally it would just crash. And I could put like 2 hours into it, die a whole bunch of times, but like it would just crash at some point and be like, oh, that's it. I don't want to play anymore for the day. So I would come back. I got really far into it, but didn't technically officially beat the campaign, which makes me really sad. There's a couple acts to that game. I got nearly to the end of Act 2. I feel like there's 3 acts. Oh, man, I really have to beat that game. I really did enjoy it. That game, was, I believe, was a gift from Patrick. And really, I should go back and complete it. It's just, it requires a lot of skill. That is a skill-based game, and everything has to go right, and then it would still crash at the time. So that, I'm telling you, every time a game crashes, it takes off your like ability to continue to play it. Ninja Gaiden 3. So hilariously, they have Ninja Gaiden Sigmas 1 and 2, but just regular Ninja Gaiden 3 is part of that collection. And that game is that one's the bad one. Relative to the other two. It seems to be subpar quality, very limited weaponry. Mechanically, it's very different from the other two, and I didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't a bad game standalone, but relative to the first two, I feel like it is a step backwards, and I did not enjoy it, so it didn't really keep me hooked. I didn't finish through the campaign. Bound. So Bound, we did appear on the channel. It finished on the channel. It's 100% posted. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's an artistically fun time. My lexicon and my repertoire of negatively bad, stinky jokes essentially isn't very present in that one, since we agreed that that one wasn't such a mature, audience-focused series, so we shouldn't be so stinky with it. So that one has a more clear-cut dialogue. Really like that one. We played through the campaign. It was short. It took us about 2 hours when we did it on the channel, and then I went back and played a little bit. I still have another video that has to come out showing the alternate ending. I still haven't posted it. I'll have to go back and do that in post. But it was a good time. We beat the campaign. If I do choose to go back and do all the trophies, they don't seem that monotonous. It seems to be tied to speedrunning. So we'll see how that goes later down the line. But look forward to that, hopefully. August, we have Monster Hunter Stories 2. So this is my first Monster Hunter Stories game. I believe there's only one other one, and then a remake of the first one that's on iOS somehow. I'm just going to say it right now. Mechanically, this is the best Pokemon game ever made. Mechanically, it is a very interesting system where it has a rock, paper, scissors, like speed guess approach. You have to memorize a lot of the monsters. The monster designs are fantastic. Movement is fantastic. Everything about it in every way, shape, and form is superior to the entirety of the Pokemon franchise, except the overworld itself. The designs are very simple. Like Zone 1 is literally like Island Zone, and Zone 2 is literally like Forest Zone, and Zone 3 is literally like Snow Zone, and they are like basically just that. It's just like a bunch of whatever the zone is. There's a bunch of snow and there's a bunch of mountains, and that's it. The cool thing is you have big old monsters in the overworld just kind of hanging around, and that's where that basically shades how bland and lifeless the environments are, because you get to see the big giant monsters. And that for me, some might not have noticed it. Harley got me into it. He really enjoyed it. I got super close. I think there's 6 areas and I got like 5 areas in. I really enjoyed it. The only reason I fell off of it is because I got it in late August, and early September, another game came out and just took all my attention, and I really enjoyed that game. But for the most part, I should go back and finish this game. It is not bad at all. Monster Hunter Stories 3, hopefully is on the horizon at some point, because this was, as far as turn-based RPGs like Pokemon style go, it was really good. Highly enjoyed. September, Deathloop. So this is what took Monster Hunter Stories 2 away from me. As Deathloop came out, I've been looking forward to it. There was an awkwardly large amount of promotion for this game in regards to its scale, from Arcane, Dishonored, but the Dishonored Legacy. So this was just a fun, well-written experience. I love the time era they chose. I love the death mechanics they put in it of looping time to make sure everything lines up was so unique. Such a fantastic experience. I know a lot of people say like, oh man, if this gets Game of the Year, I'm going to be upset because it's just another Dishonored. No, actually, I highly enjoyed this. I recommend it to a lot of people. I think the writing mixed in with the variable ways you can approach every different situation. And I mean, there's a limited amount of guns, and I wish they would have given you 3 powers at a time instead of 2 powers at a time. But the powers are so unique and so interesting, and they let you approach gameplay in such a very varied way that I highly recommend it. I really like it. I beat the campaign and I got all trophies, got the platinum trophy, loved it. Hope there's a death loop too. Really do. I'm not going to spoil anything about the ending, but it was left in a way where there could be a death loop too. Just saying that. It's not like this was a one-off. There's room. October. So I guess that was the only game I played in September. Hilarious. October, just Metroid Dread. I really like that game. I'm a big Metroid fan. I have pretty much all of them actually, now that I think about it. I have Metroid 1 in various ways. I actually have it even on the original Famicom disc, which is fantastic. The manual and the artwork, just beautiful. Just beautiful, beautiful. I love the 80s artwork. Fantastic. All of them I have in various forms. I have like Super Metroid physically, the Japanese version, and like digitally on various different outlets. Fusion as well. This is Metroid 5 for the 2D sides. I also have all the 3Ds, but this is a 2D game. So I really enjoyed it. It didn't really do much in terms of relevating any of the crazy Metroid-esque feel. It still has the dark, creepy, like I'm alone on a planet feels with the like difficult 2D gameplay, but the enemies they added in, the robots that go around and try to kill you, does add some very cool, like fearful Metroid Fusion vibes of like the sax. But hilariously, I didn't finish that one. I liked it a lot, but I had some very important stuff to do in this time. I helped a very dear friend of mine move across the country. Not across as in the entirety of the country, but basically where we are, that quote unquote across the country might be the size of like wherever you're watching's entire country. It was a pretty big amount of space. So she was, I helped her move. I helped her go to the new place. And a lot of this, like getting ready, the preparations for all that were basically all throughout October. So I didn't really get a big chance to do that. Also, I didn't get a big chance to play many games in October because we watched the entire Harry Potter series, Harold Potter, the entire Harold Potter franchise we watched because it was her favorite series. And we would take time before work. We'd watch like half a movie a day. And there was like 8 movies. So basically that took like 16 days to do. So that took up a lot of my time. And then of course, just genuinely getting ready for everything. Just October, not productive. Neither was September, since September was only Deathloop. And neither was August, since August was only Monster Hunters. So those 3 months were pretty dry. But it starts to hopefully pick back up in November, where we see the Halo Infinite multiplayer, which I was really looking forward to. I'm a big Halo guy. Halo is my favorite fictitious sci-fi universe, and something about it. And now you could say like, "Oh man, you're a Mountain Dew gamer." It's like, no. I mean, like if you go and you read the books and you like read the back lore and you see like what's going on with like the Banished or the Covenant or like the Great Schism or like the turmoil or the militias or what happened between Reach and before that. Why was the Spartan? What's the Orion Project? There's like a lot of back lore to that, and all the science is fantastic and all of it is great. It's my favorite sci-fi universe, and there is a big plethora of stuff to deep dive in. You should go watch some videos on it if you don't know what I'm talking about. Just like the Halo lore explained, to look for different stuff you're looking at, because each person might like that is explained, it might take like an hour or so. So beautiful world to dive into. I played it for maybe total like 8 hours. So I mean, it qualifies. And the only reason it's separate here as opposed to its own game, since as if you're not aware, the Halo Infinite multiplayer launched before the campaign by about a month. So it was the only way to play. It was a separate standalone experience since the campaign has a much higher quality to it, but we'll be getting into that. So I put some hours in, fun time. It's great. Bare bones, but great. Moving forward, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. So I, again, have played all the Pokemon games. This one, for the most part, is just a solid remake of Pokemon Diamond. There's nothing particularly special about it. There's nothing that they really innovate on. It has a larger Pokedex, of course, than the original Brilliant Diamond, or the original Diamond and Pearl and Platinum. But at the same time, besides the underground being improved drastically to include a big, huge stock of Pokemon you wouldn't normally be able to get, it's not really doing anything special. It was cool. I didn't finish the campaign, which is makes me sad because I want to. I really do. I'm still in the process. I'm starting it up again, but that would be in January of 2022. So that would go in the next year. So I can't officially say that I completed this under this time frame. It is cool. It's just a solid game. Solid Pokemon game. There's like nothing special to it. If you like the originals, here's will be a nice nostalgia hit. The end of November, we got Halo ODST on PC. So this was me getting ready for Halo Infinite. I played Halo ODST, which I'd never played before. I've played all the other ones, but not ODST. So it was an interesting experience to see this time in between. It takes place during Halo 2. It takes place over like one day in between Halo 2. And it was an interesting backseat approach to storytelling where you essentially go around a labyrinthian area at night, which is not good. I really don't like the labyrinthian overworld they use that you have to like walk to in the dark until you find story beats. But as soon as you find a story beat, it turns into a flashback where you play as another character. And whenever you play as another character, those are usually really, really good. Really good Halo experiences. So I actually ended up enjoying it. I just do have my complaints about it. But again, it is a more of a compliment to Halo 2. So if you go into it with those eyes, you won't be disappointed so much. December, so it's the final month of the year. And we have Halo 4. So this was essentially the first not good Halo game. It's the 343 game. You know, it's the 343 game. It's what they changed everything. Everyone knows the complaints with Halo 4. Design aspects were entirely differently. They made Chief a weird, pathetic, like, Cortana, why wouldn't you love me? And Cortana's like, I do love you. I'm just big booty thick, like, approach to it. And the story was just absolutely bad. Writing was absolutely bad. Mechanically, the gunplay itself was okay, but the way at which they approached enemy design made it very monotonous. The Promethean forces do not balance well with the Halo formula. I feel like Halo in itself has a lot of its beautiful mechanics stem from the enemy algorithms and how they're all different and how the AIs itself approach themselves very differently. Like grunts could run towards you or run away, or they can suicide you with 2 grenades in each hand. Elites will try their best to take you out. It's a very, very different approach to gameplay normally as opposed to regular first-person shooters. And this one, the Prometheans, their entire design, the Forerunner bad guys basically, those are all really bad. I don't really like the enemies, and the writing was really bad. But at least the gunplay itself was cool. So there's that. And then finally, ending the year, Halo Infinite on PC. So this one, super duper excited for. It was 343's first good game since they've only made Halo 4, Halo 5, and then Halo Infinite. And I think, is Halo Wars 2 a 343 game? I don't know. I'll check back on that, or I'll slam it up on screen. But Halo Infinite is essentially their first good game. Thank God. It's finally good. Halo Infinite was a fantastic time. It has the best gameplay of the entire series. They did away with the fantastic cutscenes, and the writing it's not as good as like Halo 2 or Halo 3, but it's better. It's much better than 4 and 5 by far. The writing is much, much better than Halo 4 and 5. The open world really changes the Halo formula. But I mean, the big aspect is the gameplay here. The grappling hook really changes everything, and the open world really, I can't stem from it enough. Story-wise, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I recommend it. I still recommend everyone to play this game. I will say I'm playing it on PC. I recommend only playing it on Xbox Series X or on a high-powered PC that is capable of consistently running 4K. And if it can consistently run 4K, drop that thing back to 2K. With medium or high settings, because this is a graphically demanding game. I don't think it's graphically demanding in the sense that it has it's the most beautiful game. I think it's graphically demanding in the sense that it has a lot going on all at once, and it wasn't really compressed or optimized that well. But that's as far as file sizes go and stuff, and how much data is being requested at a given time, all the particle effects. But it was an actual, I really did enjoy it. I beat the campaign. Really loved it. It put my faith back in 343 and finally made me feel happy that the Halo games were finally getting back on track. So I really enjoyed it. And that is pretty much it. That is the entirety of the ZoinkMeister Adam 2021 game recap. You know what? I'm just gonna throw this in there. You know, if you want to put your list of your 2021 recap, go ahead. I would really enjoy it if you did, because I want to see what everyone else played. I wanted to see if anyone wants to comment on like what I thought specifically about any games. If you disagree with any of the things I said, go ahead and comment them too. Like it if you liked. I'm just happy to like get this video out. It's like the first time I've done this. I've wanted to do this for a while. I mean, clearly, since I started this list back in January on the whiteboard, I've been wanting to do this video for at least a year. But the thing about this is that you can't do this video until a year has passed. So really, really interesting. I enjoyed it. Our final game count for the year will be at 35 games. So that's actually pretty good. I like to keep a very varied. I like to keep a very wide palette of games I play, but a lot of these were just third-person action or first-person action, but still, I really enjoyed them. I really do. 35 games, I think, is a really good number to at least, you know, dip your big toes in and like have a good experience with games. And I'm really hoping that 2022 has an even wider, varied plethora of games. I already have some out-of-the-box games for me that I would never normally play already on standby, and I even have some guests that will hopefully show up that do play those types of games to help me like at least try to get in or explain some of the things I may not be getting because it's just not my flavor of game. But for the most part, I look forward to it. I don't know if Patrick's going to do a video like this. He has far less games that he plays a year than I, because he spends so much time editing, and then he has the stuff going on with university, and then pile that all into general life right now in the current status of the world. So it's like, you know, I'm happy to get 35 games in, especially considering that we had some dry months in there like March, April, August, September, and October. But essentially, I thought I did pretty good. So thank you. You've been fantastic. I hope to see you again. Go look forward to the new games coming out. Hitman 1 should have finally, or Hitman 3 Part 1 should have finally released by the time that this one goes up. So hopefully more games we'll look forward to. With the upgrade video as well, where I explain that I have a new a different graphics card that is far more powerful than my old graphics card. There should be a lot more content coming to the channel. Hopefully this list, by the time you see this video next year, shall be even more extreme. So I really hope you enjoyed. Have a great one. ZoinkMeister Adam, signing out.